Welcome back to the Unbounded Artistry podcast. This week, we found out that our state has a challenge in place for all ages, and it includes birds.
Tweet, tweet.
We finally also have some permanent setups for our content creation. We're also working on improving the quality of the podcast by working on our speech, which will be eliminating certain words. And we also have a quick update on the Doggo.
Yes.
So roll that intro.
Here we go.
Our first topic is New York has a bird challenge. Did you know that New Yorkers have been given a quest by the DEC, or the Department of Environmental Conservation? We recently discovered that every year since 2017, the DEC has issued a challenge to New Yorkers to promote birding in the state. This year, the 2023 challenge is to spot 10 different species of birds, along with the date and location of where they were seen. It seems that this might be the first year to include adult participants. Prior to this, I did some research, and it looked like it was only for, I think, people 16 and under, so mostly for the youth. Upon successful completion, you'll be awarded a patch and certificate. You'll also be entered into a drawing for birding-related prizes. They have a prize for both youth and adult birding enthusiasts. Our challenge is open from March 1st and runs all the way through November 1st. All entries must be received by November 17th, and we'll have a link in the description so you can kind of find out more on the New York Gov website.
And if you're in New York, you can participate if you would like.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing for people to get out and try to do.
I'm excited. I think this will be a really fun challenge to do.
Yeah, I mean, we've been birding for years, and didn't hear about this until now. And it's only by accident. I don't even remember. I was like at work searching like something about like New York and birds, and I was like, hey, what's this? And I was like, oh, there's actually like a challenge to kind of complete. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I was excited when you told me about it because I think that would be really fun. I like little challenges. It's like Pokemon, but real life.
Yeah. So I think the thing that they kind of get out of it is just to get like a sample of like what people are seeing where. It's not like a very scientific, but it kind of gives an overall idea of like what species and where they're located and what time of the year. So it gives them like a snapshot of the birds migrating in or the birds that are here year round.
Yeah. And I think depending on what shows up in the list, like they can see how many of each they're getting. So maybe it can kind of give them an idea of not necessarily population, but like what species are more prominent in the area. And then maybe there's some newcomers or something.
Yeah, kind of probably like you're thinking like a regional kind of like map where they kind of all kind of congregate in like a certain area in the state or...
Yeah. Pretty cool. It's very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great way to get more people involved in nature and kind of connect to our environment, because I think that's very important going forward, because things aren't looking so great for the planet.
Yeah, we're not in the best state right now.
Yeah, we're not going to dig too far into that. That's another topic for another day, but I think it's very good for people to be aware of just their surroundings and what's going on and what kind of impacts you have on the environment and things that you can do to at least try to kind of maybe keep the planet around for a little bit longer.
Hopefully. It's very important to our birds and our other animal species there, and they make a big difference in our lives, and I think we take that for granted.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this will be a fun challenge, and we're going to try to make it kind of a competition between the two of us.
Yeah, so we have kind of a plan that we're going to kind of try to kind of weave this into like a YouTube video.
I think it would be really fun. We're going to try to find, I think there was a list of the previous challenges that the DEC had done that we found. And I think we're going to try to capture all of those species, right? Is that what we were thinking?
I thought we were going to just see if we could find 20.
Oh, I thought we were going to try to find the ones on that list and then find bonus ones if we could.
No, the ones on the list are kind of common. But
Oh, and then I misunderstood.
I thought we agreed that we were going to look for 20.
Well, yeah, but also...
I mean, just...
I thought we knew which ones we wanted to try to, like, kind of, like, cross off the list. Like, bingo. No?
This is news to me, but...
Well, maybe that'll just be my own internal challenge.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the ones on the previous way that they did it is, like, they just had some of the common species, so I'm sure we'll encounter them.
Yeah.
Like, I can guarantee you we'll encounter them.
So the challenge is that we're going to each try to find 20.
No, the challenge is we both try to find 20 together.
20 total?
Yes, because we're 2 people.
Yes.
So your goal as a single person is to find 10.
Oh.
Combined, this 20.
But 20 different birds?
I think it should be 20 different ones, yes.
So each of us should try to get 10.
Yes.
But as long as we get 20, we win.
Yes.
So it's not a competition.
I mean, it kind of is because we want to try to do it in one day.
Competition against ourselves as a team?
Just a competition to this challenge.
So a challenge, but not a competition.
I thought they're kind of interchangeable.
No, because if it's a competition, it's you and me going head to head.
I mean, we could do that
but
too,
if
maybe.
we're team working, then I think it's just a challenge we're trying to achieve as a team.
Maybe we could do it both ways, and then people can pick whatever video they want to watch.
Okay. That works.
I mean, obviously, we'd only submit one list, but...
Okay.
We could do it that way.
Well, I guess we just see what happens. We'll play it by ear.
Yeah.
Either way. It will be a fun challenge to do.
Some birding coming up soon.
Exciting.
So, we have a new thing on our Twitch channel. So if you're watching the podcast live, we have koi coins. And you can earn these as you watch, and it's just something that you earn over time. It is not an NFT or a cryptocurrency that we're aware of, at least. We have no affiliation if there is one out there. But this is just for our channel, so you can have a way to interact. So you can redeem 15 koi coins, and then you can ask a question or leave a comment, and it's something that we might respond to or address live on the podcast.
Yep, these are just Twitch channel redemption points, and it will highlight, I believe, the message, right?
Yes, so it will stand out, so it'll be easier for us to notice.
And then we can address it.
Yes.
So that would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way for you to participate.
Participation is welcome.
Participation in the podcast.
Wow.
Wow.
The next topic we have are... our permanent creative setups. While we were on hiatus, we were still working on a lot of things behind the scenes. We've always tried our best to embrace the approach of minimizing barriers to our creativity. The most ideal situation would be to just sit down and start creating. We've always tried to get as close as we could to this, but it's never quite reached this point. That is until now. We have a permanent setup dedicated to our art stream, our personal music and gaming setups, and even a bird feeder cam. This one's still being worked on still due to the rat thing, but soon, hopefully. The only one that still requires some setup is the podcast one, but we've kind of minimized that as much as possible because it's kind of right where Rose's desk is.
Mm-hmm. The art will take a little bit of setup too, but we still have to make sure that that's all working. We haven't used it yet, the art stream setup.
Yeah.
But theoretically, it should work fine.
Yeah, it should. And then once it's set up, it's just about picking out the different media or whatever we want to do. There's no like actual like prep to get like things going, like from the stream setup type of aspect.
Yeah. We've been trying to do this for a very long time, is just make it so that we could have a basically permanent setup for all of the different things that we do. It's just been very difficult to figure out the best way to do it and also maintain a clean aesthetic in our house.
Yeah,
but I think we're close.
Yeah, we didn't want our house to look just like
a hot mess.
Yeah, just have like just filling stuff like everywhere and stuff. But I think we got a good balance.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, you can tell it's a streaming setup, but it's much cleaner than what we've had in the past.
Yeah.
So I think this will help us get back into things. We've done the stream a few times now so far, and that's been the podcast stream a few times so far, and that's gone pretty well. It's pretty minimal setup compared to what we used to do.
Yeah, I think the more we do it as well, just be easier too. I mean, this time it got set up pretty fast.
Yeah. So I think with practice, and since we're doing this weekly, we should get into the swing of things better. We're still kind of struggling a little bit, but we're still trying to get used to this new process and setup and structure of the podcast as well. So,
and reading is hard for me apparently.
Well, also we decided to do this on every Friday, which is the end of our work week, and we're both utterly exhausted. So
yeah, this work,
I can't
even.
It's a little bit of a struggle.
This work week has been extremely busy. My brain is like melted.
Also, we're still getting adjusted to
this new thing.
Yeah, this new setup. But I was gonna say, like, being back in the office. That's been kind of exhausting.
Yeah.
Because now we have to factor in a commute to everything and get up earlier and get back later, and it just takes a lot of time that is unnecessary, but that's what they want, so we're doing it.
Yay.
Yay. It's not life disruptive at all. But yeah, it should theoretically make things easier once we actually start using the other setups. I think we do want to try to do an art stream soon. We might do a video at some point kind of showing how everything looks now. Yeah. We haven't done a studio update in a long time. There's been a lot of versions of our space since the last time we did a studio update. So there's a lot of iterations that we have not shown. But I think what's different about this is that we expanded from one room. We used to just have everything in one room, and it was too much.
Now we're in 2 rooms.
Well, 3 if we count your space.
Oh yeah,
3 rooms.
Well, I don't know if mine's really a room. It's kind of like an offshoot of a room.
But it's in still a different room than the other room.
Okay.
So 3 rooms. We're in 3 rooms.
Okay, we're in 3 rooms now.
Essentially, the entire house is its own setup. If we did one in the kitchen, then it would literally be the entire house.
Just about, yeah.
We're going to start cooking. We used to do some videos, cooking videos. I know, we used
to do cooking ones.
That was kind of fun. Perhaps.
I think the only way to do that would be to get like one of those like where it's like those portable like burners or whatever.
Where would we put that though? We used to just do it on the stove.
Yeah, but if you want to like actually like do it legit, I think you need like one of those so you can actually like face the camera while you're cooking.
Perhaps.
But that's like something way down the line.
I don't think we have the space for that.
I don't think so either. We'd have to probably ditch the table and just have like it dedicated basically to another streaming setup.
Oh, dear.
I mean, I don't know.
We'll see.
We don't really use the table anyways, if we're honest.
Yeah, we usually eat on the couch. TV dinners every day.
Yeah, basically.
But it's nice to have the table.
I guess.
Anywho's, next topic?
Yeah.
Well, this one is a tough one. So this is struggling with words, as you can tell throughout this podcast if you have been listening. Like, kind of, sort of, basically. Yeah. So over the last few podcasts, we noticed that we tend to fill dead space. Good game, by the way. Any gaps that we have, we'll fill with and like, kind of, basically. I also noticed that I say, so yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
watching back the podcast while we're editing, it really starts to stand out. And it's going to be a journey, but we want to get better at expressing our ideas without all of these filler words. I have been trying really hard during this podcast to pay attention to what I'm saying. I don't know if you have been paying attention to what you're saying, but it's hard to not just slip into talking that way. I think because for me, I'm trying really hard right now, which you could probably tell with all the weird spaces in what I'm saying. They probably sound longer to me than they do to anybody else. But my brain doesn't work very fast.
She's always processing.
I'm always processing and overthinking, and my speech does not match the pace. So I have to fill the buffering zone with all the filler words. So we need to stop doing that because it just makes us sound dumb. I don't know. That's probably not the right word to use.
It's just
because a
kind
lot
of
of
gets
people,
old. Like, it just is very repetitive.
It's repetitive, and I know a lot of people use these words and use filler words, so I don't want to call anybody else dumb, but I think it makes you sound less credible. And also, I had done some research to figure out what you're supposed to do to stop using filler words. And I can talk about some of those things. But what they also said is that when you're using a lot of these filler words, it makes you sound less credible because it sounds like you're questioning yourself. So you could be like, oh, it's like this, like sort of, but basically, and like the words that you use make it sound like you're uncertain about what you're talking about and makes it sound less confident. So I think it will help us communicate better and sound more confident in what we're saying and like we actually know what we're talking about, which would be good. Yes. So some of the things that you're supposed to do is not be afraid of the empty space, which I'm really trying hard to do right now, but I feel like there is a lot of empty space in between what I'm saying, and it makes me feel really weird. But you're supposed to just be okay with silence and be okay with the gaps. And some of the things that they said to do sounded so weird to me, but I guess it would help. So one of them was when you're talking, practice talking out loud for like, oh, see, I just did it, for 2 minutes and record yourself and then see how often you use the filler words. so that, see, I just did it again, so that you can be more aware of when you're doing it. And they said to talk loud, because when you talk loud, you're going to recognize it better. So that's one, which is odd, but I guess it will let you recognize it more. Mm-hmm. The other thing was when you're about to finish a thought, you're going to actually say period and pause.
What?
Out loud. And when you do that, it will, in your brain, let you know when to stop. And then when you get used to doing that, then you can stop saying it out loud.
That's weird. I don't even know if I could do that.
So it would be, so an example, I guess, see, I can't say I guess either, because it makes it sound like you don't know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. I guess, kind of, basically, sort of. Like, they're all words where you don't sound like you're secure in what you're saying. I'm trying to think of an example. So if I was going to say, we redid our podcast setups, period. Pause. Next thought.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
So I suppose that would help. I don't know if I could do that, because I would just get in the habit of saying pause instead of like or something. Possibly.
Pick up a new
But it's
one.
Supposed to help you to stop doing that. And then I'm trying to think of some of the other tips that they gave. One was to have, like, I just did it again. One was to have a friend or somebody, like, ring a bell. I just did it again. Ring a bell whenever you're using those words, so you can, basically a lot of it has to come down to awareness.
Yeah. Having
somebody make you aware that you're doing it.
Because we used them for so long that we don't even realize we're saying them unless we're, like, really paying attention to what we're saying.
See, you just said like.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's very hard.
It's just the way we talk.
Yeah.
Even when we're not public speaking, if we're just talking to each other, we talk that way. Which is, I think it's okay in small bouts of it, but I think when we're talking, especially on the podcast, our brains are going a million miles an hour, and it's just excessive.
Yeah.
So we want to try to make it less so. It's okay if it happens once in a while. I'm not going to get insane about it, but I would like to get better at speaking. I do a lot of presentations at work, but what I do is I practice what I'm going to say over and over again, and I always have notes so I don't sound like this.
I mean, we have notes too. We just don't read them over and over again.
Yeah, I don't practice.
No.
And then when we just have when we just have free discussions, I just said kind of. Did you catch it? When we have just free discussions, it's hard to stay focused on not saying those words. But we're trying. So if the pace of the podcast gets very slow, that is why.
Yeah.
I think we'll get better.
I don't think we're going to eliminate them 100%, but it's just something that we're trying to definitely reduce, because the last podcast was very excessive.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to go in and edit out quite a bit of us for using those words, and it was just so frequent. I was just laughing. So I want to try to reduce it before I have to go in and edit, because that would make my life a little easier, and it would probably be better for anyone listening.
Yeah, that listening to it live.
Yeah. Also, the benefit is that when you're pausing and you have gaps in what you're saying, it makes what you're saying sound more important.
Interesting.
Maybe it would also help my brain to feel heard. I don't know. But that's something that we're going to try to focus on. And if we find success, perhaps we'll talk more about it. If not, you'll probably hear us continue to say all the filler words.
Like, kind of? Huh?
Sort of, kind of, yes. Sort of, yes.
Like,
so yeah. I definitely say so yeah a lot, especially like when we're transitioning topics and I don't know what else to say.
Just say next topic.
I'm just like, so yeah.
Just say next topic.
Next topic.
Doggo.
Doggo. My little lady. So we wanted to give a little bit of an update on what's going on with Madison. She is my senior dog. She's very old, but she's still very cute and tiny. She's a little Yorkshire Terrier. She's 3.5 pounds.
Tiny.
And she has kidney disease. We have been giving her subcutaneous fluids, trying to monitor what she's eating and that she's drinking enough and all of that. And she's been doing okay. She is completely blind, and she has progressively gotten worse about having accidents and things like that in the house. So she is now in diapers permanently.
extra small diapers.
The tiniest little diapers, which are so cute. All in all, she was doing okay. She has really bad separation anxiety, which we've talked about before. And she will just whimper and cry when I'm not around, or if I have the door closed, if I'm working on something. And with us going back to the office, she's had a very hard time transitioning, as we have. So she's home alone. And I had come home in the middle of the day to check on her, and she was stuck behind the door. And she's so small, she fits behind the gap between the door and the wall, and basically got herself stuck in there. And I don't know how long she was in there, but I came home and I heard her, and I was like, where are you? And then I found her, and she was really distraught, and she was just very, very worked up. And we started keeping that door half open so that if she did get stuck back there, she could get out. But she would still go back there and act like she was stuck even though she could get out. And then we noticed that she started, anywhere that there was a corner, I guess you could say, she started just crying, and we were like, what is she doing? And she seems like she's stuck, but she's not really stuck. She's just kind of standing in wherever there's a corner. So we didn't know what this new behavior was or why she was doing it. We have kind of the house is dog proofed. We have little gates and things so that we can keep her in an area that we know that is going to be safe for her to kind of wander around and everything. And we didn't know what was going on, and it just kept happening, and we thought it was just her being quirky, her weird little quirky behaviors, and she just is a weird dog. She does weird things sometimes. But she kept doing it, and I had given her a bath yesterday, and I noticed that she had a big bump on her head, and she had earlier had a bump on her nose, and we thought it was because she was behind the door for so long that day that I came home. And she's basically pushing her head into these corners or hitting her head on things that we didn't realize that she was doing. So I was looking it up and trying to research it, and there's two different things that it could be. So there's one called head pressing that I've never heard of before, but it's something that is kind of rare, but sometimes will happen to dogs when they have certain advanced diseases or underlying causes. And what they'll do is they'll press their heads against a wall flat, or they'll just stand in front of a wall and just kind of glaze over, and they're just standing there for no reason. And basically what you need to do is try to address whatever the underlying issue is. The other thing, which I'm now thinking is more likely, is dog dementia, because some of the symptoms are similar. It seems like they're stuck in a corner. The thing with the head pressing was that they just kind of push their head flat against the wall and they're just standing there. But when she's doing it, she's not just standing there. She's like whimpering and crying and acting very distressed. And we were like, Madison, you just have to back up. You just have to back up. You're not stuck. Like, she yesterday was pushing her head against the bookshelf in our bedroom. And I walked in and she was just standing there like whimpering and crying, and there's nothing there. There's nothing like holding her there. But for some reason she didn't realize she could just turn around. And I'm like, Madison, like just move. And then she just kind of like lifted her head up and turned. So with dog dementia, that can happen where they'll kind of work their way into a corner and all they need to do is back up or turn, and they don't realize that's what they need to do, and they just get stuck. And they'll also start walking around in circles, and she does do that, and we initially thought it was because of her anxiety. She's a very anxious dog.
Also, her blindness too.
Yeah, and she can't see. So she does walk around in circles sometimes and gets in a loop, and I always thought it was anxiety, but maybe she's had dementia longer than we thought, and it's just gotten progressively worse, because that's a symptom. She started losing her balance a lot lately. Like, she'll just kind of stumble and lose her balance, and that's also a symptom. So, and when we first took her in for the kidney disease, before she was diagnosed, she was just being really picky and not eating and things like that. And that's a symptom as well, is she'll start eating and she's eating really well, and then something will distract her, and then she just will not eat anymore. So we have to, whenever we're feeding her or giving her water to drink, we have to be very careful to not do anything or any sudden movements or anything to distract her, because when she's distracted, she'll stop. And that's also a symptom. So when I started reading about it, I was like, oh crap, she does all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think what we're dealing with right now is that she's got doggy dementia. What we ended up doing, Brandon we had 2 gates that we were using. He kind of combined them so that they're a circle, and we put these massive blankets that we had all around them so that they're wrapped so she can't hit her head. We don't want her to hurt herself, so we're trying to figure out ways to keep her safe from herself, and we're increasing her fluids. I want to give it a couple of days and then see how she does, and then if she seems like she's a little bit better, great. If not, I don't know. I'm worried to take her to the vet because I don't want them to tell me, oh, you just need to put her down. I don't know what they're able to do, but I'm committed to doing whatever I can to make her life happy and safe and be her personal nursing home assistant. But we thought we would talk about it because these were things that we didn't realize were signs of the dementia or the head pressing. So if that's happening with your dog, please pay attention and make sure that you take the dog to the vet and don't think it's just a quirky behavior. At least for us, we know what it is. We know it's the kidney disease. So we're trying to just increase the fluids and see if that helps. That's where we're at right now. So I don't know what you want to add to that. It's been very difficult because we've been having a lot of trouble sleeping, and taking care of her has taken a lot out of us. But I think now that we understand what's going on a little better, we can treat it a little better.
I mean, I think you covered all of it, really. It's kind of tough to deal with, but like, we're trying everything that we can think of. We were like brainstorming, like Rose said, about what we could do to make sure she doesn't injure her head anymore. And what if we just grab these blankets and kind of drape them over, so when we gotta like run to the store or something, she'll be kind of safe and not running into a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I'm mostly worried on the days that we're both not home for work. I'm always going to still come home and check on her in the middle of the day, but when I'm not here, I want to make sure she's okay.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's what we're trying to do so far. Try to keep her comfortable and happy. And I don't know. It's just sad. It's just really sad. It like breaks my heart to see her like this. It just, I don't know. I was just thinking about her the other day, like when I first got her, when she was like a little baby puppy, and now she's so old and frail, and it's just sad. Just, I don't know. I just want to give her a good life. I put her in her little tropical shirt, and I was like, you're in Margaritaville. Enjoy your retirement. I just want her to be happy. Like, you know, I want her end of days to be, like, happy and relaxing and chill. And I don't like that she's so anxious and confused. And it's got to be scary to feel that way.
Yeah. We got a little, what do you call it? Little satchel thing?
Yeah. Like I guess a satchel.
Yeah.
It's like a little bag that I can kind of put her in and carry her around with me, or put her in my lap if she's stressed out and she wants me to hold her.
Yeah, we take her out on walks in there, or she'll just hang out at like Rosa's desk while she's working.
Yeah, so she's like I'm like a kangaroo. She's in my pouch. She's my little Joey. But yeah, that's what's happening with the doggo right now. I'm hoping that she still lives a long life, but I realistically know that there's only so long of a life expectancy, and she's already surpassed it. So I don't want to be unprepared, but I'm also in denial and just think that she's going to live forever and I will take care of her no matter what happens. But she's 15 right now, and I mean, she's a very tiny dog, so I want her to live to be like 35. Be the oldest Yorkie that ever was. But I don't think that's going to realistically happen with it. Just, I don't know. The kidney disease is progressive, and I just want to try to keep it in check. And it just seems like it's gotten worse. So I think that might be why her symptoms have gotten worse.
Yeah. She's barking right now.
Yeah. Well, we can close it out and then I can go get her.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're looking for some fresh new photos or perhaps some new threads, check out tealfishstudio.com/shop. And this will have links to our Etsy shop and also our Threadless shop, where you'll be able to find original photography and designs from your favorite artistic couple.
Oh,
that would be us.
Is that us though?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
And always, if you're watching on YouTube, you can always listen on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcasts. If you're listening, you can always watch the video on youtube.com/tealfishstudio or catch us live on Twitch every Friday evening at twitch.tv/tealfishstudio.
Thank you so much. And until next time, may your artistry always be unbounded.
Bye.